Well, I decided to, you're good. I decided to head right to the Meadows. You know, I got back to Northfield Park. Obviously, we thought, oh, I'm a Lovely Lady was a lock. And just goes to prove you there's no such thing as a lock in horse racing. Obviously, she wasn't herself tonight. I don't think anything was super wrong with her. After her last start, she had a little high weight count. Not a big deal. We treated her. But could have been a number of things. Maybe she still got a little touch of sickness. Maybe she's maybe she was a little flat. But either way, she was beaten fair and square tonight. I mean, her mile wasn't disgusting, but it certainly wasn't I'm a Lovely Lady. So, we got a second, we'll turn the page. We had a great day at the fairs. As I said in an earlier video, it got cut off a little bit, jammed up. I don't know what the hell happened. I have to ask Curtis. But I'm a Lovely Lady was flat, and then I didn't realize it. I went to sit in my car. I went to sit down in my car, and a guy texted me, and he says, just give this guy a shot, will you? The next race. I'm like, what? I'm in the next race. I go up and look in the program. Yeah, I'm in the next race. I'm in the race after that. I'm in Roy Hill with Roy Hill, and then in the last race after that. The next race after that. 15 drives today. I don't know if I'm going to make it all the way to the Meadows. Good news is there's lots of little towns. That's what it's turned into. I live where I am, like the littlest hobo. I eventually go home, but I disappear. And I'm going to drive until I feel like pulling over. And then I'm going to get a hotel in whatever town that might be. Or I'm going to drive right to the Meadows and sleep there. We got looking closer at the schedule. I don't have to be back in Ohio tomorrow night. So I won't. I need to be sharp for tomorrow. So I'm going to drive to the Meadows, hopefully. I can sleep in till 9 o'clock, maybe. If my body lets me. I can sleep in till 9 o'clock tomorrow. Fresh, sharp. Got a lot of horses that are supposed to do good tomorrow at the Meadows. We got a couple at Mount Gilead. We got Well and Down. We have Momo. They're racing tomorrow. Now, we have a fair again on Saturday. I'd said to Jason, Miss Meringue, I don't think needs to go back in the Buckeye. I mean, she's almost good enough for them, but Miss Meringue bangs away at a couple more fairs. She's going to head up over north of 20,000 with ever actually winning a pari-mutuel event. So Miss Meringue will still remain a maiden in Ohio and Pennsylvania. And I might add, I can make an argument that she's still a maiden in Ontario. So last year, we went to race the horses and they said, no, those fairs are pari-mutuel events. They count as wins. Well, there's no pari-mutuel wagering at any of the fairs this year that she raced at. So, by definition in Ontario, in Ohio and Pennsylvania, and I will argue in Ontario, she's still a maiden. So we could potentially win out the fairs. And I know it was brought to my attention the other day. I forgot. You have to pay like $500 to remain eligible to race in the fair final. I didn't pay that because I knew we'd have to race in every fair to be eligible. And it isn't. There's a final for every conference. It's a final overall. There's 4 conferences down here. It's virtually impossible to make the fair final. You know, I think Jason said, buddy has had 2 wins, 2 seconds last year, was nowhere near the top of the standings. Now, Miss Meringue is 3 for 3 at the fairs. And likely will end up 4 or 5 for 5 the way she's been racing. She looked good again today. But I don't believe she's eligible to the fair final. Sorry, that's just the way it is. Didn't pay the $500 to pay her into it. We can talk about that next year, but just didn't seem logical at the time. So we do have a fair coming this Saturday. Monday back Saturday's tough, but Miss Meringue, she didn't really work that hard. 2.5 or something, I think. And Mama Knows Best as a Buckeye next Thursday, so she's not going. I said to Jason, draw the blood on I'm a Lovely Lady. Scope her tomorrow morning, find out what the hell went on tonight, and if it's just a matter of her being a little flat, a little dull after a round of antibiotics, okay, fine. Run a bunch of fluids into her and we'll race her Saturday. Some might say, well, that's too much for her. Not really. Obviously, she's shown she's pretty durable, and she doesn't have a race coming for a millennium, like Jug Week in September, and then the final for the 5 weeks, I think, is how far away the consolation is. So probably, yeah, enter her Saturday. Look at the schedule going forward. Give her a couple of weeks in the grass, or 10 days on the grass to really sharpen up. But wins go a long way, not just for her, but for us also. So that's what I think we'll do with I'm a Lovely Lady. What I would like to do is, I truly believe her and Mama Knows Best are two of the best horses in the consolation. There's a couple others that are pretty good, but I think Mama Knows Best and I'm a Lovely Lady are two of the best in the final. I would hate to break my maiden in that race. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to win that race. What I'm saying is, I would like to win a pari-mutuel event with I'm a Lovely Lady before we get to the Sire Stakes final. I think I would like, to be honest, I love coming 2 hours and 10 minutes down the road to race at the Meadows. So might hit a fair or two with her. She's still got the Ohio State Fair. The reason I bring up the Ohio State Fair is the same day as the Buckeye. Mama Knows Best and Rose Run Versatile, or for the love of God, Rose Run Why Not, will be racing in the Buckeye on Jug Week. We theoretically could race I'm a Lovely Lady in the Buckeye on Jug Week. But I don't believe Virgil Morgan's filly, Herculesa, is eligible. They didn't pay her into it. So that's one big name off the list for the Ohio State Fair, so might just probably race her in that. So we have to look at that. There's just a lot of timeline. We know what's going on now. We know where she's going. We know what she can do. We have the consolation and likely the Ohio State Fair. What we do in between, we just have to map out properly, and Jason and I are going to go over that tomorrow. I told him to give me a call when he's done at the barn tomorrow morning, and we'll go over that. Mama Knows Best, Rose Run Why Not. I think they get the 2 Buckeyes left, and they can't race in the Ohio State Fair, even though they're good enough. Now, if by some bad stroke of luck either one of them doesn't win next week in the Buckeye, then you start saying they can't make the Buckeye final. Maybe then we look to the other one. There's just a lot of movement. It's very fluid, the situation with Rose Run Why Not, Mama Knows Best, not so much I'm a Lovely Lady, but those 3 in particular. There's a lot going on there. And My Jazz also, but she's racing for $300,000 on Sunday. Her week is locked in. I'm actually going to wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, drive back to Northfield Park, train globetrotting and My Jazz in the morning, get back in my car, drive back to the Meadows to race Bottle of Red in the 13th race on Wednesday, and then drive back probably Thursday morning early, get up early, 7 o'clock, and be back at Northfield Park for the qualifiers. We get a big qualifying day. Gray is a new red. Rose Run Why Not. I'm going to school Jazzy Judy off the gate. 210, 212. And there was one other horse I said we'd school off the gate. Can't think of it right now. That's Thursday. Friday I'm going to the Meadows in the afternoon. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to come back to the Meadow. I'm not going to come back to Northfield Park Friday evening to drive Emerald Miss. I will Friday afternoon when I'm done with the Meadows. I think we're either going to go, if we go to the fair on Saturday, I'm going to drive towards the fair. Again, sleep in, have a little lunch at in that town, race in the fair, and then continue on down to Columbus. Probably what I'm going to do. There's no real need. And here's the crappy thing. Emerald Miss, it's unfair to her. Drew poor again. Drew the 7-hole again. So she's not going to be much good at the 7-hole, and I feel bad. My partners and my partners on Emerald Miss, you know, wouldn't it be horrible if we just drew 2, 3, or 4 for a month? Would that be so hard to do? This poor filly, every second or third start, 7-hole, 6-hole, 8-hole, 7-hole. It just sucks for her, and it's unfair for her And I can tell you what's going to happen. We're not leaving with her. You got to duck her, race her easy, try and scab some money. Pretty simple. I don't need to come here and do that. So I'll be collecting my thoughts on Friday evening, getting ready for maybe a fair on Saturday, and then the biggest day in Ohio for us, the Super Finals, $300,000, my Jazz and Globetrotting on Sunday. So that's what the remainder of the week looks like. I guess I got ahead of myself. I watched Mohawk tonight. Kevin had called me after and said that he had done some vet work on Tanzanite tricks behind. She wasn't quite as good since he did the vet work on her, and he thought that maybe she reacted poorly to it. Not a big deal. He said he'd work on her and get her back on track. I know some people have messaged me tonight and said, well, what about New Jersey? Until we get this filly right, can't really talk about freehold. You know, I'm sure we can get her back squared around quickly. I mean, Kevin knows what he's doing. So I'm not that worried about Tanzanite tricks. Time Houdini threw in a real stinker. First over, they come 27. He certainly didn't. Not a very good mile for him tonight, but he's usually pretty good. So we'll chalk it up to a crappy trip for a bad night for Time Houdini, and then Oso Pine had a tough night, but it was not Oso Pine's fault. 26-2 to the front. Might have been a little much for Oso Pine. Not really known as a speed demon. You know, you can leave with him, but you bust him up 26 seconds and then empty him out. Yeah, he'll race like that. So, a little disappointed with the way he get driven, but I guess that's the way it goes. I'll be honest, I didn't see the race. I just got the Cole's notes from Jason when I come off the track. So, I didn't know whether there was a reason for it or what happened, but obviously he came up, raced poorly after that. But not that shocking considering the first quarter. So, a bit of a crappy night by a bit. I mean, a lot. The one shining moment of the night, I guess, was Beef and Cheddar. They went 53. What did he pace? 54 and a piece. Had to come 27 a piece, 28. He looked good closing in on the end of it. I was really happy with him. So a slow night there. What about New York, Cavill Hanover? Not many people knew this. So I'm going to tell you a little story about what went on this week with Cavill Hanover. We sent the horse to New York and we asked everybody, can he get licensed? Can he get licensed? Everybody did. Now, as you can imagine, there's a number of our clients that are hardworking people. Just like you, just like me, worked their butt off. One client couldn't get all their stuff ready for the National Racing Compact. Rushed around. Finally, purelated it out. They hadn't received it in time. So, the New York State Racing Commission is aware of what is going on. We made them aware of it. They were going to scratch Cavill Hanover tonight. Finally, Linda emailed them and said, listen, with everything going on with COVID, the gentleman would have went to Buffalo and got licensed, but he can't get across the border. Can't get across the border. He got all his stuff done. Here's all the purelator information. It will be at the National Racing Compact tomorrow. You know, surely with everything going on, you're not going to scratch this horse. So good for her. Probably a lot politer than I would have been. New York State is the worst state in the universe to race horses in, just so you know. To get licensed in, for people that can't go to a track in New York, especially right now with COVID-19, the pandemic and the borders closed, worst place in the universe to race a horse. Bar none. Zero. So, they said, yes, we'll let you go this time, but we won't be as lenient next time. I can tell you something. I'll tell you right now what I would love to tell the New York State Racing Commission. I'm not gonna. Just leave it alone. Wonder why we only buy 2 or 3 horses. You wonder why we can't sell all the shares? We have so many clients in New York. This is why, New York. If anybody in the New York State Racing Commission is watching, there isn't a stable bigger than ours in the universe. And I can't sell shares because no one wants to race in your state. Why? Beautiful state. Wonderful people. You're the most backwards state on earth. Impossible to get licensed. In a big hurry to scratch people's horses all the time. No problem. You just won't race there. How's that? Someday, someone in New York racing is going to slide and And somebody is going to say, where did it all go wrong? I can tell you today's date for certain. But it was quite a ways before that. The bureaucracy and the redundancy in New York is choking New York, and they don't even know it. And at some point, people are just going to say enough's enough. I know our clients already have. And if you don't believe me, you guys know the stable well enough. Look at all the horses in May that have shares left. They're all New York breds, right? Even the good trotter that we sold, the New York bred colt that we sold, there's lots of shares left way late into the season. So Admirable, beautiful filly. I still own like 80 shares of So Admirable. Anyway, I don't want to dwell on it. It's just 8 racing there. So, Cavill Hanover got to race. Thank you. Very kind of you. Cavill Hanover got to race. Blasted out of the 8-hole. Usually the 8-hole is a graveyard in Yonkers. Graveyard. Jim Rohn Jr. blasts him out of there, parked to the quarter, clears the front, favorite removes, finishes second on his wheel. I think he went 55 and a piece, 56, something like that. But it raced fantastic. Mark Harder told me today, I had a quite frank conversation with him, and said, Mark, I got to be honest, there is a chance this horse is going to be scratched tonight. Luckily, he wasn't. Mark told me he loved the horse. He thinks that he's going to go through the classes. There's lots of places to race him. He's in love with them. Great. That's what we bought him for. So, Cavill Hanover was good tonight. Beef and Cheddar was good tonight. I'm a Lovely Lady was okay tonight. Roy Hill was disgusting again. I'm going to tell you something. This could be the last time we ever race Roy Hill. Ever. You know, I could turn him out. I can make an argument to everybody, all my partners on Roy Hill. I can make an argument to keep this horse. And we talk about it every week. He's just got to mature mentally. But I just don't know how we lose that streak of slob in him, where he just doesn't care. Watch him down the backstretch. He's not tired. He's half pulling up. He's trying to figure out how to get out of the race. There's a word for horses that do that. So, Roy Hill, I suspect, as much as we know he has talent, and as much as he may go forward for someone out there, it might be a stake colt next year. I just can't, for the life of me, think of very many good reasons to keep him. So I would suspect over the next week or so, or shorter, we may have a very candid conversation about Roy Hill ending up on gate and leaving the stable. Everybody in here, and I say this all the time, I only ask the horses to work as hard as we all do. You do, I do, all the caretakers, all the trainers. Horses put out, no problem. Roy Hill does not put out, has not put out, and I believe he will not put out. So I don't think I want him anymore, and I don't think he needs to be in our stable. He can go to somebody else's stable. So Roy Hill is very close to being escorted out of thestable.ca for no other reason than he doesn't want to do his job. Simple as that. Other than that, I could say I had a pretty good day. Yeah, we had a couple of tough trips at Mohawk. A couple of horses that raced. One that raced great at Mohawk. Another one that got raced a little too hard at Mohawk. But overall, we had a good day. So, I myself had 15 drives. Let's see, I was 10 for 10 in the top 3 at the fairs. Good for me. I had a second with I'm a Lovely Lady. I had a second with some other guy's horse. I had a fourth with the guy who works for us, Sonny's horse. Drove somebody else's. I was 5th. And then the slob was 6th. So, one check missed out of 50. Not a bad day. But I don't enjoy doing that like I used to when I was, younger and wanted to be a driver full time. 15 in a day was awesome. I'm just tired now. So I'm going to drive until I get tired, and then I'm going to sleep. Or I'm going to drive right to the Meadows and be sharp for tomorrow in Washington, Pennsylvania. So that's it. The video got cut off a little bit this afternoon, but we got 20 minutes of rambling at night, and the afternoon video also. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you're having a good week. Ours, just getting started.